Good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Cody Cup, hitting the cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. We discuss local and national Native news and events, and as you know, Chujunk, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Yes, you are right, Daga. This portion of the show is supported by Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Big P Nagigi, thank you to all of our supporters.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Haley, great job yesterday. And also, I just want to say, really excited about Kamala and what's happening there with the Democrats pulling it together. And it's a good thing. She's progressive. She's younger. She's 3 years younger than I am. So
hey,
this
younger,
would be
all that matters.
Well, this would be the first president that's younger than me because Obama was the same age, basically. I think he was born in 61 and so am I. So this would be the first younger president that we'd have. And I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I know Kamala was out in Milwaukee yesterday in Wisconsin, and I enjoyed watching the clips from that. One of the things that she said was, we're not going backwards. We're not going back. And that's what I like to hear. I also saw this really funny clip of Joe Biden, I think, in a recent speaking thing that he did. He reminded all of us of the orange one and when he advised us to inject bleach into our veins during the COVID pandemic. And President Biden said that he missed, and, the bleach must have went to his hair.
Yeah.
So I had a good laugh out of that.
Well, and tonight, too, President Biden is going to be speaking to the country, so that'll be interesting, too, and something that we can look forward to listening to. Best wishes, keep on doing the great things, and maybe before you leave, you can pardon
Leonard Peltier.
Leonard Peltier,
Yeah, that would be a good way to go out.
No doubt. Hey, what else we got going on? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, we got a really cool thing going on tomorrow morning from one of our great sponsors, NAC, Native American Community Clinic, is hosting another wellness breakfast tomorrow, Thursday, the 25th, at the Minneapolis American Indian Center from 10 to 11 a.m. Yeah, it's a free healthy breakfast and a discussion on health and wellness, and everyone is welcome. Again, that's tomorrow, the 25th, at the Minneapolis American Indian Center from 10 to 11 a.m. with NAC.
Yeah, they do great stuff in the community, and there's a perfect example right there. What's the show going to be about? I always kid people that we talk to and about you as a producer. I'll just go, Haley, what's the show about? 5 minutes before the show, but Haley, what's the show about today?
Sure. No worries. We're going to have Ana Negrete back on, who is the community planner with the MMIR, Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives state office here in Minnesota. It's the first state office dedicated to this type of work across the country. So this is a really important program and office, MMIR, Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives. This is, an epidemic that happens a lot in Indian country, and I feel like a lot just alone in the state of Minnesota. So it's really important that we have this resource, and I'm excited to welcome Ana back on here in the next segment. We're going to talk about kind of the progress that they've made and since the last time she was on the show, and we'll get into that, and I'm sure talk about those license plates, which I think you still need to get.
Yeah, I do. That's a long story, but yeah, I got to get current. I think I'm at 2022, so it's going to cost me a few bucks to get current before I can get one of those plates, but hopefully nobody heard that. Hey, we also, tomorrow's big happenings as always at our favorite Four Sisters market.
Yeah, our favorite farmers market here in Minnesota. This one's in Minneapolis. The Four Sisters Farmers Market happens at the Powwow Grounds and NACDI parking lot. The address is 1414 East Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis. It's right along the American Indian Cultural Corridor. It's the little yellow building. And it's fun. That's the place to be every Thursday from June through October. They have the farmers market going on from 11 to 3 p.m. And it's fun. They've got a bunch of artisan vendors and local native vendors, as well as food from Powwow Grounds. And Powwow Grounds has their new fry bread factory food truck, which is amazing.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Hey, getting back to MMIR, today there's a song called Never Run Out of the Road by Ricky Medlock. And we had Ricky on, didn't we?
We did, yeah. For those of you who don't know Ricky Medlock, he is a member of Lynyrd Skynyrd. And Ricky is the one with, he's, tan. He's got the long white hair looking kind of guy. And there's this song that he recently did. It's called Never Run Out of Road. And Ricky has Lakota Sioux and Cherokee blood. But all these streams of that song go to support the National MMIR Fund. You can catch that interview with Ricky Medlock back in February of this year's videos on the 28th.
Maybe we should have him on again.
We should. We really should.
Talk to your producer about getting the producer to produce that.
Yeah. Well, I know that Lynyrd Skynyrd's on tour right now, so that might be a little hard. I do know that Ricky is touring with them.
Yes.
They're going to be at Prairie Island.
Yeah, and I know Ricky's a little older than me, and I need my nap, so maybe our show is going on at the same time as his nap before the night show.
The concert. Yeah, that's a big thing. I don't know. There's a lot of older bands that,
nap?
With older artists that are still touring, and I think they put on, a pretty great show still.
Well, I was really surprised. I saw Paul McCartney at Target Field a few years ago, probably more than a few years ago, but I was surprised but I noticed how he did it too. He'd stand and play a few songs and sit behind the piano because literally I couldn't stand, the whole 2 hours.
Yeah.
3 hours
No, it is.
commercial, but the concert, but I saw kind of how they did it. But yeah, and then we saw just recently Mick Jagger running very fast as an 80-year-old across the stage, and my sister-in-law and brother-in-law were at that concert in New York, and it's just like they were in shock too.
Yeah, I think I saw clips of that on some social media platform. But yeah, he's up and he's doing more than just walking. He's running.
Yeah, he's running. He's running. And he's running better than me, and I'm quite a bit younger.
Yeah. You got to stay in good shape if you're a touring musician.
Yeah, definitely. Well, what else is going on here? And I know, again, what I've heard, and you've confirmed too, is our Gen Z people and younger people have really gotten energized by Kamala's bid for the presidency. And I'll be down at the DNC for at least a few days because it's just before the state fair. So I got to figure out scheduling because we'll be at the state fair for a couple days doing the show live at least. And on Thursday and Friday, and come out and see us and support Native Roots Trading Post.
Hey, absolutely. Yeah, the state fair is coming up, and that'll be a lot of fun. I know we have probably a minute here until our first break. I want to shout out the last segment. We're going to welcome back Angela Two Stars of NACDI, Native American Community Development Institute. She is the director of All My Relations Arts Gallery, and we're going to be talking about Jennifer White's upcoming exhibit at AMRA and what that entails, when the guest speaking is, and when that exhibition will be on display.
Wow, they do such great work, and it's so beautiful to go see that artwork from Native Americans across Turtle Island right in Minneapolis on every quarterly or every 3 months cycle, and it's beautiful, and we appreciate the Native American Community Development Institute in leading the way here in the Twin Cities.
Always go check it out.
Hey, this is Native Roots Radio. We'll be right back after this short break.
We are your relatives,
We are your relations,
brothers,
sisters,
sons,
daughters.
And some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
Homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Attention transit customers. On Saturday, June 15th, Metro Transit will make changes to transit service within your community. As we do each quarter, we review our resources and ridership trends. These service changes continue our ongoing work to best serve customers throughout our system with our given resources. A summary of the upcoming service changes and a preview of the updated schedules are available now at metrotransit.org. Again, that's at metrotransit.org.
Hi, I'm Chuck Manette, owner of Native Concrete and Masonry. With concrete and masonry adding substantial value to your home, it's always a great idea to repair your sidewalks or just add a beautiful new patio. Cracks or heaving in your sidewalks due to tree roots can be dangerous. Native Concrete and Masonry has helped clients across the metro to make their outdoor space safer and helped increase the value to their homes. For patios, sidewalks, driveways, or garage slabs, go to nativeconcretemasonry.com.
Anine, I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, we are here with our friend Ana Negrete, community planner for the Minnesota MMIR State Office, Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives, and we're really, really excited and happy to have you back on.
Thanks for having me.
You always got such a nice, beautiful background there. Kind of looks like you're out in the country there.
Yeah. You see kids running by; they're just playing with the frogs. So
nice.
It's all good.
Well, really great to see you again. And last time you were on the show back in February, what's been happening here with the Minnesota State MMIR office, and how much has it grown, and what's happening? Let's hear some groovy updates.
Yeah, thanks for having me back. So in February, we were talking about the license plates, and they were just being released. I won't bring attention to the fact you haven't ordered them yet, but this is what they look like. This is like a sample plate, but yeah, so these are what the license plate look like, and I just got mine a couple months back too. It took a while to get ordered, but yeah, the license plates, the specialty plates are now available through GMV, and $25 of your contribution goes to support our state's reward fund board, so the Gagigay Mikwanigoziwag Reward Fund Board, which will hopefully provide some dollars for rewards on some of our MMIR cases, up to $10,000 per case. That's what we announced, and we'll also go to support things like raising awareness, billboards, flyers that our family need, searches as we engage in searches, all kinds of good things that we hope to do with that those dollars. So super excited about that.
Yeah, and I will be getting mine, and I already know what I'm going to put in there. As a matter of fact, state representative, or state senator, I should say, she helped me out with writing out Ho-Chunk and how it can come out with the proper amount of number of letters too. I think I'm going to be taking out. What am I going to take out? The U in chunk?
Something like that. We'll figure it out.
But yeah, Mary Kunish came up with a great idea. So yeah, everybody check it out. And Haley, you're up next to get your plates too with your new car. I know that
Yeah.
You can get the plates online, and you can also go down there. And then if you get them personalized, like I'm gonna on my whip, yeah.
Yeah.
They take a little bit longer if you get them personalized, but it's still like great. And it's not, I've never had personalized plates before, so I wouldn't splurged on that. But I just, it's a great way to help raise awareness and support the office. So super excited about that. We have lots of things going on at the MMIR, as I was mentioning. The billboard, some of the reward fund dollars can go to billboards, but Clear Channel Communications, they're have done a $0 contract. So I don't know if you guys have been out and about in the Twin Cities, but there's a couple billboards up that are highlighting 8 of our cases altogether for some of our longer term missing relatives. And so that's super exciting. And it's the first time we've had billboards up, and we're just trying to build those relationships to keep awareness going about our relatives and trying to bring them home. Yeah, there they are. You're blurred out, so we can't see it all the way, but
I like that.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of these plates around our community, and it's always cool to see, like, when I'm not really around the American Indian Cultural Corridor and I'm kind of east suburbs of St. Paul. So I still see those specialized MMI plates around our suburban communities. And it's always like, ooh, do I know that person?
Right.
And I try to see if it's a relative or a coworker. But
that's a great story, Haley. I was at a state meeting with Native Americans, and in the parking lot there was one, and I wanted, who's that? It was Shelley Buck. It ended up being.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
that's me too. I was like, who is that? How do we know them? I want to leave a note, leave a bandana. We got new bandanas coming out too. I don't know if you guys have seen the new bandanas. We got some new ones out. These new ones have a new color that represent domestic violence. So here's the newest version. It still has our logo on them, but they're more of a teal. I don't know. It kind of looks black on the screen, but this is the newer one. So we get those out as we're out in community spaces. Again, just trying to connect with community in whatever way we can. So if you see us, hit us up. We have some.
Yeah, I have one. As a matter of fact, I'm going to unblur my bookcase background here. I have one right up there.
Oh, well, you have 2.
Easy, Haley. Yes, I do. I have a hoodie too. Don't tell anyone.
Hey, but it's like, people, the more that you see, the more other people that see MMIR and those letters next to each other, the more questions that people have. And it just really opens up an opportunity to have that conversation and kind of educate, more people around this epidemic.
Who designed the logo? Because I've told you this many times when I've seen you. I love that logo. That logo is awesome.
Yeah, it was Big Spirit who did the design, and like we were super intentional. Our director was awesome. Like if you notice, and like the braid, they have like even the person is like, we wanted to make it sure it was like kind of gender neutral because we wanted to represent all of our relatives. That have some teal in the braid to represent domestic violence, and of course the traditional like red hand over the mouth to represent the silencing of our communities when it comes to MMIR and just kind of the silencing of our people. So really intentional, and love the design, and it's nice to see it out and about. If it's on a sweatshirt or on a license plate, it's cool to see out and about.
Yeah. So what does the green represent in the hair, in the braid?
The green was supposed to be more teal. So like that domestic violence, because of the lateral violence that happens in our community. And so that was the thought behind that, to represent that. And that's why we went with that kind of teal too for this year's bandana. So super excited to how it turned out. And I see other people having stickers with it on now, and just doing different things. So it's nice to see that representation out in the community.
Yeah, it's definitely, we talk about this a lot, and how we can amplify the MMIR epidemic. And I just want to say it's an epidemic. And, we run into, the national news that, we're really sad that this blonde-haired, blue-eyed young woman or person has gone abandoned, but the amount of coverage compared to what we get it's so good to have this organization in our state to really put some teeth into looking for our people.
Yeah, I was doing a presentation this morning at the Rotary Club out in Prior Lake, and it was like, who has heard of Gabby Petito? Everybody, hands raised. I'm like, have you heard of Nevaeh Kingbird or Jeremy Jourdain or Sheila St. Clair or Kateri Michaud out of Minneapolis? Have you heard of those names? And everyone's like, nope. So I mean, just how they were asking why isn't that coverage available? And I'm like, look, let's discuss that. What do y'all think? And they're like, try not to call it always out, but they got to that conclusion too. The root causes of MMIR include racism, historical trauma, colonization, sexism, and the sexual objectification of our women and girls. So as we talk about why we're not present in the media, those are your answers, is those root causes is why we're not represented. So it was a really good discussion out there in Prior Lake this morning.
Yeah, the sexualization of Native Americans, whether it's in the movies or in print that I grew up with, makes us unhuman and or non-human, and that's why it's good to talk about there's different tribes, there's different way people look, but we're all native to this land. One of the things that we talked about before, which really blew my mind when I started finding out and educating myself about this, there was a talk, I do believe it was in downtown St. Paul, with some survivors, and the issue at Lake Superior and Duluth, that blew my mind, and not being brought up over there. I never even had that on my radar.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we talk about like what some of those risk factors are. So we have the root causes, but then what are those symptoms? What does that look like? And that, for part of that, those symptoms include things like human trafficking. Those are the outcomes of what historical trauma has left behind. That's what we see, whether it's substance use, human trafficking, poverty, homelessness, having our relatives unhoused. Those are the end results of what that comes out. And so with Duluth being a port city and just having that easy access in and out of the country, that became for a time, one of the hot spots for human trafficking. And I think that has changed a little bit about where we're seeing those hot spots as it relates to human trafficking. But yeah, it's something to always be aware of, and that we talk to our young people about what's going on in the community, so they're aware and maintain safety. So good conversations to have with young people.
Yeah, definitely. Excellent. I just want to, before we take a break, we're here with Ana Negrete, community planner for the Minnesota MMIR state office, missing and murdered indigenous relatives. And, we're having a serious conversation here about things, but also we have a lot of joy in having this in the office here and as a real thing. And so we want to amplify that. And heck, we'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by the Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
Hey, we are here and with our good friend Ana Negrete, community planner for the Minnesota MMIR state office, and we are really excited to be on. I know with billboards and things like that, there's new cases, but there's also cases that have happened a long time ago that we don't want to forget, right? Oops, you're on mute.
I don't know how many times we've heard that over COVID times, right? We start talking. That's one of the things with our office, being relatively new. We've been in the office for 2.5 years now. We're still playing catch up. And so we have some work to do, and community still learning about what we what we do and what we can offer, what types of support we can offer. So I think right now our oldest case is about 40 years old, and that's one of the cases that's highlighted on the billboards up in the Twin Cities. To be clear, there's 2 in Minneapolis. I want to say there's one in Burnsville, Mounds View, Shoreview, Maplewood, and Columbus Township. So I'll be looking for those. But yeah, it's just been great to connect with some of those folks that have those resources to support us and highlight that, what our families are going through, and let them know that, they're not forgotten. That's what, in talking to one of the families recently, they're like, it's so nice to see those up, because it lets me know that I'm not the only one looking for my brother, my sister, my loved one. And so it's been awesome to kind of give them that spark of hope and feeling that they're not alone anymore. So super thankful for those partnerships.
Well, it's crazy because we have the opportunity on February 14th to hear these stories live. I can't imagine how do you take care of your mental health, because those stories keep coming daily, and not only the 40-year-old ones, but the daily ones. And we as Facebook people see people disappearing all the time.
That's a really great question. I mean, I'm fortunate to be connected with my indigenous roots, and, do ceremonies, smudge down when I need to. And, also I have a great support system where where I'm allowed to laugh too, as part of my healing. And so in the depths of kind of all the dark things and heavy things that we do, I'm thankful to have that laughter too, just because that gets me through when other things can't. So super appreciative of that support, and you have to build that. So
yeah, it is. And you do have to have support, and you do have to be able to talk to people that are going through. I know it's fun. It's funny too, in a different sense here with news, and also being so dark. When we started this show 8 years ago with First Dakota Access Pipeline, and then the Trump administration and things like that we have to talk to each other and talk to our relatives about where we're at and how we're feeling. So we talk about that, how important it is here all the time, and I'm glad you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah, I'm lucky to have the support of the office, and they really allow us to do and take care of those things and make sure that they bring that up as a priority. We get to have fun times too, being out in community. We get to go out and present. I was up in my new coworker and I, actually our office expanded a little bit. We had some transition. We have a new intelligence specialist, Taylor Wenzel, sorry. And she and I went up to Canada and connected with some relatives up there and talked about human trafficking and how we're dealing with MMIR here in Minnesota. So she's a new addition to our office. I think she came on in April. And then we also have Deanna Bolio joining our office as a victim specialist. And so she is working one-on-one with families too, as we get more cases and folks come into a space where they're asking for support. We now have a dedicated person to work with them and act as a liaison between law enforcement and the families, or whatever they need as they go through these challenging times of being impacted by MMIR. So our office is growing a little bit. So it's nice to have that extra support. And like I said, just be out in community. It's not always grim. We're out at powwows. We're out, just being in community spaces. That's always nice to see smiling faces. And so we have some balance in that, thankfully.
Well, you always see me, and I'm up there begging for free swag, and you know how that is. But I appreciate it. We do have fun and have a lot of fun conversations too, for sure.
Yeah, we'll be out at National Night Out in a couple locations. I know our director will be down in her home community down in Lower Sioux. I'm going to be back in my hometown on the west side of St. Paul and their community down at Castile Park. I think Deanna's heading over to the Minneapolis Urban Indian Center out that way. So she'll be in Minneapolis. I think we have some other folks that are heading to Leech Lake. So we'll be throughout the state, just building that sense of community, and can hit us up for some swag. I think we'll have these new bandanas out. really trying to prioritize safety. So we got a couple cases of these screeching alarms. So folks are out in community or places where they're feeling unsafe. You pull the pin and it makes a really loud sound. It has a little flashlight. We know that it's not preventative of all things, but we just, wanted to do something to emphasize that safety and talk about that and open up discussion and community about the importance of being safe. And so we have some of those items as well as first aid kits and some other things that really just trying to reassure communities that we care and we're here and, hit us up if they need support.
Yeah, that's really important. And I think I did see those screech things last time I saw you, and that's a great idea. It'll get people's attention and also get the conversation going, because it's an interesting thing, because as we get together as community, we have a lot of fun, but this is also a very important and serious thing. And again, for me, it's heart-wrenching to hear a lot of these families and what they're going through.
I know I have a wall here at my house of some of the cases that I work, and then that as you hear them, you just can't. As you hear the families, it keeps me motivated. And I have their posters and their faces on the wall, so I'm looking at them every day, reminded. It's not just a name, or it's not just a case. It's this is the family, and these are the stories. And I'm blessed that they trust me enough to share with me some of their, just really that deep, very personal stuff. But that keeps me motivated to ask for billboards, motivated to go out and speak and raise awareness. So yeah, I'm super fortunate. I'm so thankful to be in the position I'm at with MMIR.
Yeah, what I always like to talk to our guests about is a call to action, and how can our listeners out there support you and support your work? And there's of course information, but how can they support you? And of course, there's the license plates for easy for people to support you. But is there a direct line to how we can support this action?
Yeah, of course, like the license plate, and they can actually donate directly to the Reward Fund Board, without getting license plates if that's not their thing. But also, sharing posts, talking about it, referring relatives if you see posts, social media posts online about somebody missing, direct them to our office, let them know that there is support out there, because I think that even though we've been around for 2 years, and now I'm a little bit over a year now into the office, or my work in the office, but people still don't know that we exist and what we have to offer. So just send them our way, let them know that they can reach out to us. We do our best to be responsive. Also, when there's a call to search for relatives, show up. I know it's not easy, or the task isn't easy to come out, to take time off. But even if it's a couple hours, or something as simple as handing out posters, show up, talk about it, say their names. Don't be afraid to offer support to families. I think sometimes we're afraid when relatives go through grief, we don't know what to say, or we may not have the right words. And so we don't say anything out at all. And so just encourage relatives to, let families know that you're there, that you support them, that you're part of community, and that you see them, and that you remember their loved ones with them. So, those are some kind of simple ways to be a good relative, I would say. So.
Yeah, definitely. And that we want to be a good relative. And I'm just really, really happy. And I can't believe it's already been 2 years that this has been going on, because I know State Senator Mary Kunesh tried to get it through 3 years ago in an omnibus bill. And then it had both sides of the aisle were supporting this. And that's really good to hear, and really heartwarming that, we live in a great state here.
Yeah, we're really fortunate as other states look to us about, how they can replicate what we're doing here in Minnesota. We tell them you need a champion. You need to connect with folks that have and can amplify those voices. And so that's the message that we brought to Winnipeg. And that's what we tell others who are reaching out. There's going to be a national convening in Arizona coming up in October, where folks that are addressing MMIR or MMIP or MMIW, whatever they call it in their state, get together and talk about the lessons that they've learned, what's going well, what are our common challenges. And so be the first time that we're getting together as folks that address that. So we're excited about that. And, thankful to, again, that the people of Minnesota and Minnesota has said this is important. We're going to put this in office and to show some leadership on what other communities can do and talk about our lessons learned. So,
yeah, that's exciting, and it's also proud to be a Minnesotan, and I know our community is very mobile. Dakotas, Wisconsin, and Iowa come back and forth, but we're proud here, the people that are living in Minnesota, of our politicians doing right for us.
Yeah, I agree. And Senator Kunish has been awesome with us, and Lieutenant Governor has come out in support, and it's just nice to have that backing. Now, somebody was asking in the chat where our state offices were located in downtown St. Paul, but we're fortunate to work remotely and can be where the need is, and so we're all over the state. Our main office is there, but we work wherever needed. So, thanks again for having me on.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's great to see you, and we love promoting your work, and it's just thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back after this short break with who, Haley?
Angela, 2 stars of NACDI in All My Relations Arts.
Right on. You passed the test. We'll be right back.
Attention transit customers. On Saturday, June 15th, Metro Transit will make changes to transit service within your community. As we do each quarter, we review our resources and ridership trends. These service changes continue our ongoing work to best serve customers throughout our system with our given resources. A summary of the upcoming service changes and a preview of the updated schedules are available now at metrotransit.org. Again, that's at metrotransit.org.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is often laced into illicit drugs and used to make fake versions of prescription pills. You can't see it, taste it, or smell it. Suppliers mix fentanyl into their products because it's potent and cheap, and the dealer might not even know. Keep yourself and others safe by knowing the real deal on fentanyl. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio here to tell you about the best window contractor in Minnesota, 952 Windows. Here's why I trust them in my home projects. 952 Windows is a part of Loyal Home, founded by former window light workers known for their ethics and quality. It's a top-notch remodeling company that's been flying under the radar for too long. They've even sold to competitors' employees who want top-tier quality for their homes. For the best in windows and doors, have 952 Windows take care of your next project. They offer the longest warranties and were rated Energy Star's most efficient in windows and doors. Believe me, I've known the owner for decades, so I can vouch for their excellence. They're not just about windows either. They're your go-to for roofing, siding, kitchens, bathrooms, and more. Plus, they've got you covered on onyx bath and rosebud cabinets. Trust me, you won't regret giving them a call at 952 Windows or 952windows.com. Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Hey, we're really happy to have Angela 2 Stars, Director of All My Relations Art with Native American Community Development Institute here in the Twin Cities, Minnesota, and we have a new exhibit coming up here. Great to see you.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's nice to see you guys.
Right on. Hey, how did that last showing go? I was really Frank Buffalo Hide show is wrapping up the alternative at All My Relations. That was just an awesome exhibit.
It was, yeah. It was so fun to have Frank's work and to introduce, his work to the Twin Cities. It's been wonderful to have his show up, and we're really grateful that he allowed us to extend it for a little bit because we had an event in the gallery, so we got to have some, that eye candy up for people to come in to see what we're about and see who we're supporting and get that artist work out there.
Yeah, it's so exciting. I mean, I'm a hanger-oner, as you know, Angela, and I beg for food and things like that, as you know, in your office. But it's always exciting to be there and watch people, whether they're grabbing a cup of coffee or just coming through the town to check out the gallery.
Yeah, I think it's something that is always changing. And so people coming in, they get to see new art, new artists, and all of the art is, it's a reflection of Native people and our different stories and history and contemporary experiences. And so when our community comes in, they see themselves reflected in the work. And I think that's really important.
Yeah. So what do we have next? What's coming up next? I can't wait.
Yeah, we have a new exhibition opening on August 1st. It's by Jennifer White. It's called Arikara Proper. And Jennifer actually owns the Post Pilgrim Gallery in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And so she's having a solo exhibition at All My Relations. She's an Arikara artist. She works with acrylics, and she's got paintings to share with our community. She depicts her Northern Plains culture, and she's just a really fun, vibrant, strong artist. I'm really looking forward to the community being able to come and see her work. Her paintings are beautiful. They're, they really have a lot of meaning in them.
How do you guys pick an artist?
Well, now that we're out of the pandemic, we can actually plan forward. So, typically we like to have about 2 years of planning for exhibitions. And we like to do a range of solo exhibitions, group exhibitions. We like to have, guest curators, to kind of change things up. So it's not always like, my preference or, And Jennifer and I actually met in 2018 at the Indigenous Peoples Day Festival. She and I were both exhibiting artists. We had booths, and that October of that year was so cold. I completely was not looking to sell any of my work. I was just focusing on staying warm. And she was right next to me, and we just had such a fun time getting to know each other. And, so I always remembered, her. And then our VP of development, John Williams, came from Sioux Falls. And so he had shared about Jennifer. And so as we were playing our calendar, I was looking for a solo artist. And we went to visit her last year and invited her to have a solo exhibition, All My Relations. And she was very moved. And, I think for me, it shows the impact that All My Relations has on artists, and their careers and opportunity that it provides. So that's very meaningful. And I really take that very seriously, that we're able to offer this for artists and to be able to share their work, with our community.
Well, that's a really, really good point. And I wanted to ask you real quick about your art and how people can see your art. And do you have a Facebook or do you have it hanging? What about your art? Huh?
Goodness, I actually just closed. I myself had a solo exhibition at the Great Plains Art Museum in Lincoln, Nebraska. I that just closed days ago, so I'm going to be heading down there to pick up my work. But yeah, it's something, as a solo artist, you have that responsibility to fill the whole gallery. And so that's one thing, when we host solo artists at All My Relations, it's that recognition that they are carrying the whole weight of the show. They're showcasing who they are as artists, and they have to fill the entire gallery with their work. So that's a lot of art that they have to create, and it's a responsibility, for these artists. And having a solo show is a really big deal for artists, especially, at All My Relations, to be able to have a solo exhibition, because it's not something that comes, like frequently, in like the larger art institutions. So that's one of the things why we want to have specific solo exhibitions for artists in our space.
Well, you do, and Haley, it's never been a disappointment when we go in there.
Oh,
no,
thank
never.
you.
It's
Thank you.
forever changing, and they have, you guys really pick great artists. And I want to mention too, in Frank's last exhibition, his artwork and his pieces were phenomenal, but also just the titles in which he titled his pieces, I know, held some weight to him too. So it's really cool to see how artists kind of put their own little take on their solo exhibitions.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I had a cousin visiting from the reservation from my hometown just yesterday, and I showed her, some of my public art pieces in the community, and it was explaining the concepts behind my work, and she was commenting about how without having me there to explain those things, like she wouldn't have known, kind of like that depth and those concepts that the artists incorporate into their work. So it's always really fun when you can meet with the artists one-on-one and hear their, reasons behind how they created their work or their titles. Jennifer is actually going to be in town next weekend. We have our opening on August 3rd, and it's going to be a fun time. We have a food truck. We've got music. We've got the Black Widows that are going to be playing at 7:00. And Jennifer is just such good energy. She's such a fun person to be around. So I would want to encourage everybody to come out to meet her, because she's a really cool lady, and it's going to be really fun to show her work, because it's just beautiful. Like, very passionate, expressive work that she does.
Well, how can people, is there tickets for that? Because I know when we did our reading, our Ho-Chunk reading, we had to close the doors. There were so many people there. So
there was. Yeah, well, our opening reception, it runs from 6 until 9, so it's kind of an open door, revolving door that people can come in. And then we have everything outside, too. So, like, the food truck will be outside, so we'll have tables set up. The band will be outside. So it's nice to have kind of like just a summer party. Hopefully the weather, is cooperative, and then people can go in to spend some time with Jennifer's work. And so, they get a ticket to get themselves an Indian taco or something from Bob's truck. Hopefully we have Bob, because he's a busy guy these days.
Yeah. Well, and I've been mentioning the fact, too, that I've been at other events, and I go, well, who catered this? And a lot of times Bob's been out and about with not only the food truck, but just all his other recipes.
Yeah. We're actually going to be hosting the awardee for the 3rd annual Jim Denemy Memorial Scholarship. We're going to be having a dinner for him and his family next month. So Bob is on the docket to cater that meal, because it's always a good food from Bob.
Well, Angela, quick address and the dates.
Yes, All My Relations is at 1414 East Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis. And the exhibition opens on Thursday, August 1st. Our opening reception, where everybody needs to come down and come out, is on August 3rd, and it's from 6 until 9. And there'll be food and fun and music and Jennifer White. So, Arikara proper.
Wow, big Pinagigi for coming on. I really appreciate you and appreciate all the work you do.
Thank you guys for having me.
Right on. Hey, we're still here. We are the 7th generation. This is Native Roots Radio.
And free Leonard Peltier now.